Hi, so I'm going to talk about the first week development or the pregnancy first week and the complete development of a fetus beginning from your first week. That means the 7 days of your pregnancy. So, your complete pregnancy is actually divided into your embryonic period and the fetal period. So later on, fetal period, you everyone know, once the zygote is formed, once the blastula is formed, once every process is done, like you can say after forming the trophoblast, after forming the intra-embryonic mesoderm, your ectoderm, your yolk sac, everything, like every germ layer, then comes your fetal period. So before that, what stages happen that I'm going to talk about. So this will keep aside. So your embryonic period is the main focus. So your embryonic period is actually divided into the germinal period and embryonic proper. So your germinal period is further classified into cleavage formation, then your morula, then the blastocyst, then finally the implantation. Okay, so what actually happens is after the fertilization, once the sperm enters the zona pellucida, it forms the cell division, and from 2 it becomes 4, from 4 it becomes 6, from 6 it becomes 8. So till it reaches 12 to 16 packed cell layers inside your zona pellucida. So the process by which the cell division happens and the process by which it reaches the cells inside your inside the zona pellucida, the cells when they reach to 12 to 16, the process is called as compaction. Okay. So now we'll see the what is actually the internal structure of this whole embryo. Like, so suppose this is a zona pellucida. Okay, so inside a zona pellucida there is an outer layer of cells. Just don't mind it. I'm just showing. So this is the outer layer of cell, and inside the cell there are loosely packed tissues. Okay, so this is as we know, this is zona pellucida. This is the outer cell mass, and the loosely packed one is called as inner cell mass. Okay, so this complete structure is actually what we call as a morula. Okay, so what is morula? Your outer cell mass and your inner cell mass and the zona pellucida. Okay, so as you know, the this inner cell mass contains approximately from 12 to 16 cells formed by mitotic division. This is very important. Okay, so now we'll see what happens next. After this process, what happens is, inside this cell, inside the zona pellucida, a chemical enters. It's not a chemical, we can say it's an enzyme. It enters. The enzyme is called as a uterine milk. So as we know, nothing can penetrate inside the zona pellucida, but the only thing except the sperm which penetrates inside the zona pellucida, it's the uterine milk. So what happens when this uterine milk enters this ball? What happens is, suppose this is your zona pellucida. Okay, this is your outer cell mass, the uterine milk is entered inside. So this cell layers will get into one side. They all will get collected into one side due to the uterine milk. Okay. And there will be another names called, the outer cell mass will be named as the trophoblast, and the inner cell mass is called as the embryoblast. And this embryoblast is what we call as the blastocele. So what is a blastocyst? Blastocyst is, so this is basically your blastocyst. So blastocyst is actually your blastocele plus your morula is what we call as a blastocyst. So what is next? You can see the point where this embryoblast is touching the trophoblast is called as polar trophoblast, and the free point which is not attached to the embryoblast is called as mural trophoblast. I'm so sorry, I just wrote the spelling right here wrong. Okay. So after your blastocyst is formed, the time is for the implantation. So this is your endometrium where the egg is going to be implanted. So your endometrium consists of 3 layers. The first layer is striatum compactum. Next is striatum spongia, and then striatum basal. Just remember the thing, this egg doesn't cross spongia. This egg just implants till spongia, it never gets until basal. Okay, so the point where the egg touches the endometrium, the other portion just lies inside the uterine cavity. So this portion over here which is attached to the endometrium is called as the embryonic pole. Embryonic pole. And the other part which is not attached to the your endometrium is called as embryonic pole. Okay. So the next thing is about the type of pregnancies. You have heard about the normal pregnancy and the abnormal pregnancy, which is suppose this is your uterus, and let me tell you, the pregnancy, like the normal pregnancy, always takes place above the medial line of your uterine cavity. If the pregnancy contains down, that it's abnormal. So your pregnancies is actually divided into the normal and abnormal, but the abnormal pregnancy is called as a ectopic pregnancy. So this is actually the normal pregnancy, but the pregnancy like the implantation of the egg, if it gets maybe in this portion or any other portion, so it is called as a ectopic pregnancy. So your ectopic pregnancy is divided into intrauterine ectopic pregnancy and extrauterine ectopic pregnancy. I'll tell you the difference. Okay, suppose your there are 4 types of intrauterine. I'll tell you how. Your intrauterine means intrauterine, intra like anywhere but inside the uterine cavity. not above this line, not above this two layers. It's anywhere over here. Okay, so if the implantation is over here, this is called as your first grade ectopic pregnancy. If the pregnancy happens over here, this is called as second grade. If it's over here, it's called as third grade. And if this is your cervix, okay, this is your cervical fossa, so if the ectopic pregnancy takes place over here, this is your fourth grade. And in most of the cases, first, second and third is obviously it gets successful, but the fourth grade is not never a successful pregnancy. And this is all about intrauterine. This is inside the uterine cavity. Let's talk about extrauterine. Extrauterine means while your blastocyst formation, or maybe there are some chemical abnormalities, we can talk about the uterine milk or anything. In some cases, the egg gets implanted here, or anywhere else. So your egg is actually implanted in your fallopian tubes, or maybe besides the ovary, anywhere. Maybe the fimbriae, where there are the fimbriae attached. This happens actually. So this type of pregnancy is what we call as extrauterine pregnancy, which is outside the uterine cavity and not inside it.